military.
Kicked back. Who would spend that kind of money to some of the things that you read about and I read about and I see every night on the news and every morning when I read the papers? Who would spend money for that? I would say this, the people that got all that money, are they kicking it back to the people that gave it from government? No, that's, to me, very, very corrupt.
It's about as corrupt as it gets. So here's my question. We know that USAID over the years apparently gave $27 million to a group called Fair and Just Prosecution. This is the same group that George Soros has given millions of dollars to. What is the goal of Fair and Just Prosecution? From the research that I'm seeing, it appears to be funding Soros-style radical prosecutors, which means USAID, as a slush fund for the CIA, was funding what? The prosecution of President Trump in many of these cities like New York, Atlanta, and even in Arizona. So all of this is bad news, about as bad as it gets. And now those on the left are freaking out that it has been exposed.
We have convened here in the right place, the Treasury Department. That's right. We have got to tell Elon Musk, nobody elected your ass. Nobody told you could get all of our private information. Nobody told you could be in charge of the payments of this country.
Yes, the President of the United States told Elon Musk that he could go in there and root out waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption. And so Maxine Waters there is screaming and yelling about platitudes when the American people are seeing we're spending money on things we shouldn't be spending money on. So Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, has taken over USAID. He said 60 people, higher-ups in there, stay home, don't come in. They have paused spending for USAID. Here's Marco Rubio.
Well, that was always the goal, was to reform it. But now we have rank insubordination. Now we have basically an active effort where their basic attitude is we don't work for anyone, we work for ourselves. No agency of government can tell us what to do. So the president made me the acting administrator. I've delegated that power to someone who's there full time, and we're going to go through the same process at USAID as we're going through now at the State Department.
You know, in many respects, it's amazing that USAID has flown under the radar. For decades, this organization has operated, funding the globalist agenda, funding the pet projects of the radical left, designed to take away American sovereignty, designed to chip away at the fundamentals this country was built on, all the while lining the pockets of politicians in D.C. And I think if you wait long enough for the investigations to unfold, you'll see that's true. Now, we talk about the idea of a shadow government. People out there will say, come on, Grant, that can't be right. We are watching in real time the shadow government be exposed. General Mike Flynn, on the front lines of exposing that deep state shadow government, answered my question this way on this program this week. Is it a shadow government, or am I crazy to call it that?
No, it's a shadow government. It's a, I say that the intel community is like the fourth branch of government because they're totally out there on their own. This is something that Donald Trump is going to have to deal with. And but it's a shadow government. It's a deep state. These are people that are outside, that are still in the swamp of Washington, D.C., that that they will lose a lot if they get caught. Believe me.
So when you think about getting caught, it's not just Elon Musk and President Trump's cabinet secretaries that have been tasked with auditing many of these agencies, not just USAID, but conservative investigators on their own have been rooting this out. Natalie Winters is one of them. She's done such a great job for Steve Bannon over a war room. I was watching the other morning. She uncovered this Democracy 2025 plot where the Brookings Institute has a 170-page paper on this from the left-wing Brookings Institute. And it was about using a USAID. Listen to her spell it out.
Democracy Forward, which was sort of the apparatus, the compendium of all of these resistance groups, 120 plus organizations, the one outfit that they set up prior to President Trump being sworn in was something called Civil Service Strong. And it was the idea that they were going to provide legal aid and resources to whistleblowers. Sort of, I think, a shadow impeachment, right? They can't impeach President Trump right now, but they're laying the groundwork, or they're trying to sort of do it indirectly.
They want to build the case and have the resistance off that.
And USAID was the linchpin on all of that.
She's saying is USAID, the plan by the Democrats, CIA, the intelligence apparatus that is running this whole scheme, was to fund the impeachment of President Trump. Now, you wonder how this wasn't exposed earlier, and it most certainly should have been. Now, when you get down to what they're spending money on, it's got to be kickbacks, because why in the world would you need to spend $20 million for a group related to a key player in the Russiagate impeachment hoax? $20 million. $10 million worth of USAID funded meals to Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist groups. We're feeding terrorists now? $3 million to EcoHealth Alliance, the key non-governmental organization funding the bat virus research, gain-of-function research in the Wuhan lab. What else was USAID funding? I mean, this list is very long. These are only the things we picked out for you. $20 million for a new Sesame Street show in Iraq. $7.9 million to teach Sri Lankan journalists how to avoid binary gendered language, whatever the crap that means. $6 million to transform digital spaces to reflect feminist democratic principles. It is a giant waste of money, folks. So when you look at this, and now you see this story that comes out that Politico, the left-wing radical rag Politico that started out independent, moved very far left, that launched the Hunter Biden laptop story saying that it was a Russian collusion and not real. All the while, Politico's getting $8 million from USAID. $400,000 a year for subscriptions for 37 employees, some at the FDA. $8 million. Politico never exposed that. Well, this is a scandal beyond scandals when it comes to the press. Our own Brian Glenn, White House correspondent for RAV, asked Caroline Leavitt about it.
Now it looks like there are a couple media outlets that have been dragged into this conversation as far as USAID funding as well. Does the president have any comment on that?
So upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The DOJ team is working on canceling those payments now.
Lo and behold, yesterday, Politico sent a note to all its employees. They didn't make payroll. Is that because Politico's being funded by the federal government, by taxpayers? Unbeknownst to all of us. Propaganda war against conservatives and President Trump. Again, scandal beyond belief. Well, with me now from the Center for Security Policy, the author of Big Intel. He was a CIA asset during the Cold War. I want to bring in now that man. Welcome to the program, and it is a pleasure to have you on the program.
Hi, Grant.
Let me ask you, J. Michael Waller, there's a lot of talk about this being a slush fund for the CIA involved in running a shadow government. What do you make of those claims as someone who was so close to the CIA as an asset during the Cold War and then writing this book that really exposes a lot of what goes on inside the intelligence apparatus in D.C.?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we might never know. In addition to working as an asset for the CIA in the early 80s in Central America, I was also a USAID subcontractor in Central America and in Russia following the Soviet collapse. And I can tell you that it's a mafia like you haven't seen before. They paddled a lot of everything. This was 40 years ago they were doing this. But at least in the 80s, they were still an instrument of U.S. foreign policy. They were not a state within a state. They were not an operational intelligence organization against the American public. They were not, nothing like it is today. But there has never been a single case of solid congressional oversight of USAID spending since it was founded in 1961.
When do you think it made the switch? When do you think it started to transform into what amounts to what looks like a slush fund for the globalist agenda?
This was a very clear break in the 1990s because USAID was founded to wage the Cold War with soft power. And it was a very useful instrument that worked with every element of U.S. Power, including the CIA. But it wasn't a CIA front. That was a clear distinction under the law, under federal law. So if it ended up becoming a CIA front, it's a flagrant violation of federal law, and there's a lot of criminals out there who would be responsible for it. It really became a slush fund, sort of a ripoff operation in the 1990s during the Clinton administration, right after the Cold War, when the administration said flat out to members of Congress, foreign aid should really be, we should all be getting rich off foreign aid. It should be part of American business, and we can find ways to send money back to your districts. So if you look at the oversight committees and the senators most interested in protesting at AID, you saw the other day right in front of there, you saw Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, and you saw Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland. They are they represent many of these huge.
And we know that there are contractors an easy way actually to money launder. It happens in the construction business all the time. We don't have any evidence yet of kickbacks. President Trump raised the possibility. I certainly think there is the possibility. You saw Maxine Waters just a little earlier. This is a woman from Inglewood, California, Los Angeles area. She makes $175,000 a year. She's got a net worth of $5.3 million and lives in a $4.5 million house. Even with the $5.5 million net worth, the money doesn't add up here. Do you think that politicians could be getting kickbacks from these contractors and USAID is being used to fund this uniparty?
Well, it wouldn't be unprecedented at all, would it? But there's something even bigger than kickbacks because this is a power game. This is where members of Congress appropriate money without looking, turning away at how it's spent, knowing that it's going to be spent on funding their own staffers who go on into the bureaucracy and use them as a holding pattern on the federal dime until they can reach higher positions in other parts of government. It's a way to provide favors to people to hire them. It's a way to inject an agenda into our foreign policy that's not controlled by the Secretary of State or the President, to have basically a social revolution around the world. It's to enrich campaign donors through the law, because you make them rich and then they give you money, and it's legally not a kickback.
Can we survive by shutting this agency down? For me, I look at all the spending. I see Speaker Johnson said we had expenditures $100 million for atheism in Nepal, tranny operations in Colombia, and drag shows in Ecuador. I would think we could survive without this agency.
Sure, it's tearing apart traditional societies around the world, and it's pitting people against one another and causing more people in those countries to hate us. We can certainly survive, and if we want to do humanitarian aid, we can do it if it's straight humanitarian, and there's certainly no shortage of private funds for this.
No, including that from people like Bill Gates, who said he funds the same organizations that USAID funds, which should tell you all you need to know about the organizations USAID is funding. Dr. J. Michael Waller, I appreciate you coming on this program. Fascinating stuff. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. All right, folks. There's another scandal brewing, right? And that is what was going on inside the FBI that allowed this government to persecute and prosecute so many of these J6ers, if not all of them. Thankfully, President Trump has pardoned them. To the point that we had out-of-line FBI agents. There's no doubt about it. Now, identification numbers. Now, you can still figure out the names, but this is a way to obstruct. We've talked a lot about John Brennan on this program as maybe the leader of this shadow state. John Brennan talked about what the FBI is doing here. This is cut 26, John Brennan. Oh, we can't play that. Okay. So anyway, John Brennan talked about the lawsuits, lo and behold, that the FBI is filing, the FBI agents are filing against the DOJ to block their names being released. If you're proud of your work, why do you care whether your names are released or not? Because I don't think they're proud of it. Well, joining me now, former FBI agent and whistleblower. He's been key to exposing a lot of this. Kyle Seraphin is with us. Kyle, it's great to see you again, and thanks for coming on.
No, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Kyle, you were one of the first that I saw this story that they only release employee identification numbers. What's going on inside the FBI, leading up to Kash Patel taking over as director?
Well, you're seeing the culture of resistance and the idea that they want to they're relinquishing over the information, but they're doing so reluctantly. And then obviously they're filing lawsuits on there. A couple of interesting things about it. Number one, not surrendering the names is part and parcel with being ashamed of the work that was done. It's bigger than that, actually, though. In the January 6 cases, for the first time that I've ever seen in the FBI, but I have friends that work cartel cases, people who actually cut off other, agents and sources' heads if they get a chance to. They're happy to kill family members. They do all kinds of aggressive violence. Those names are sworn out on affidavits, on criminal complaints in their name. They're not redacted. They're given out to the public. And occasionally we would get these threat evaluations where somebody would make a legitimate threat out of prison or otherwise, and they'd say, hey, we got to go and defend one of our agents. We got to put a security detail there. We may have to relocate that person. That's fairly common. It happens a couple times a year in various field offices. What we saw in the J6 prosecutions is that every single DOJ employee that I could see associated with these cases had their names redacted. They would pull them off so that nobody knew who they were. And to me, that says everything about it. You're going to shield FBI agents' names from grandmothers and military veterans who were charged with trespassing. but you're not going to shield agents who were going after guys that cut off heads and kill family members. It's absurd. So all of this has been really bad. And then, of course, the person they chose to represent them is Pamela Keith, and she's a radical leftist who's asked for the Supreme Court to be arrested.
Yeah. Tell me about the FBI agents and the overwhelming majority of them. Is the entire FBI corrupt? Are the agents all now moved towards the left where they just buy into this Soros-style agenda, or are there good agents left?
Well, there's obviously good agents left. I just talked to one a few minutes before we went live, and so I got a phone call, and he was laughing, and he said, man, the talk around the water cooler is absolutely riveting. Everybody wants to know, is my name on the list? Am I getting fired? And, my buddies that work criminal cases that are out there locking up bad guys, they're not scared. They're not worried about this at all. The stuff they did, they'd be happy to look anybody in the eye and say what they did. There are also people that work January 6 cases that I think did so with honorable intentions. One of the bread and butter operations that the FBI does on a daily basis. They take what are called assault on a federal officer cases. They're AFOs is what we call them. And they come in on every single border office and RA, resident agencies, the satellite offices that are around. They get them from Border Patrol and CBP and various other agencies that are doing it. And the FBI investigates them. There's no big deal. And if you fought with a cop on January 6th, if you punched a cop, it's reasonable to assume that an FBI agent would investigate you, and that would be a good faith operation. And I don't think any of those people have anything to be ashamed of. Now, whether the prosecution was overbearing is another animal. Whether it's normally dismissed, which happens all the time, that's another animal. That's a DOJ question. But the agents in question, they are not a big deal. The ones that went after the misdemeanors and simply went after the bulk of the J6 cases, they should be very ashamed. And there's a ton of people who did that. So it's not unilateral. It's not monolithic. And obviously the management culture there is rotted. It's not wrong to say that it's rotted all the way down to the core. They only promote people that want to be promoted in that culture.
Well, they've already lost, like 6 of 8 of the top leaders of the FBI are stepping down. Who would you recommend that Kash Patel bring in? Is there anybody from inside the agency he should promote up? Should he bring in outsiders? What is your recommendation to him?
So it's got to be promoted inside. That's pretty obvious if you want to have the credibility of the people underneath them. They need to do take an hourglass and flip it upside down. Right now, you have a bottom-heavy group of some decent case agents, some people that did some things that I think are either nefarious or dishonorable. And then you've got a mixed bag of supervisors. And as you go further up, you get less and less people that are trustworthy, to the point where if you get to the senior management, there's nobody there that should stay there in most cases, especially the ones that have been there for a little while. They just don't belong there. So you should go out there and canvass. You should be asking those that are running the field offices, either temporarily or permanently, who are your best case agents? They actually have a thing called statistics. They can do it by the numbers. They can bring out the most statistically accomplished agents who have the most arrests, who have the most sophisticated techniques, who are doing lockups of bad guys. They can do the same thing on the supervisor level. They can say, hey, who are your SSAs that have been there the longest, that have the most positive climate surveys, that are people that folks want to work for, and that have on purpose stayed in a supervisory role to get close to the work. And you're going to have to ask them to step up and do something to save the Bureau. Have the people that have actually been working cases, that understand, that are subject matter experts in their particular fields, bring those people up and maybe skip a couple of ranks and skip along that ladder. Because taking people from the GS-15, which is your assistant special agent in charge, and your SES ranks, that kind of deep state, the senior executive service, those people have all committed to something that they ought not to be in at this point. I mean, they've all said yes when they should have said maybe or no.
Well, look, if Pete Hegseth can come up, he wasn't a general, and be Secretary of Defense, we could bring in a longtime federal agent, special agent with the FBI, and put them in a leadership role, and I think that would be very, very good for morale. I also think you got to bring in a mix of maybe some outsiders as well, just so there's no allegiance there and you get it mixed. But it's fascinating to talk to you, Kyle Seraphin, and I appreciate all the work you've done to expose what's going on, and I think your work in the end will change a lot of what's happening in Washington.
No, I appreciate it. It's very kind.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on tonight. We appreciate you. This is a story, again, we'll be following, and I think Kash Patel, when he gets in there, he will look at these agents individually. He's not going to blanketly say everybody's fired. He's going to look at them individually. And I think just like the CIA, the CIA, everyone got a notice. You can take retirement. I think the ones that know 20,000 federal employees have already taken President Trump's offer of retirement. The swamp is draining itself. All right, you've heard of AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. It was created to champion the needs of Americans who believe in faith, family, and freedom. With over 2 million members, Their mission is simple: protect the interests of freedom-loving Americans, safeguard senior benefits, and advocate for common sense policies. Membership includes the award-winning AMAC magazine, exclusive discounts on travel, insurance, and everyday services. And in honor of President Trump's first 100 days in office, AMAC is offering a 5-year AMAC membership for 47% off. Normally $60, join for only $32. Visit amac.us/grant. Do it today, amac.us/grant, and take advantage of this special offer. Well, President Trump calls for the Riviera of the Middle East, where Gaza once stood. Is this a good idea? Next.
Why is Navage trusted by millions?
Before Navage, I was not living my best life because I could not breathe. Constant nasal congestion, constant blowing of the nose. The huge difference is the fact that Navage pulls it out. It's very gentle in the sense of when that suction happens, it's literally grabbing that water and that mucus and it's bringing it out into this tank. It's worth every penny that you pay for it. This product changed my life.
Available at major retailers or online at Navage.com.
You push it. You try to slide it. You even try to hold them shut. But your doors just won't stay closed no matter what. Introducing Ruby Monkey Magnets. Brand new ultra-thin magnetic plates that will keep your doors and drawers shut. And now may be your last chance to get them at a low price. Just peel to reveal the super strong adhesive. Place the monkey, then the magnet, and close. Installation is that simple, and now you have a door that will stay shut. So forget drawers that won't stay closed. Every drawer stays closed. It's so fast and so easy. Even large sliding doors or cordless window blinds. Everything stays closed with Monkey Magnets. The secret is the ultra-strong industrial magnet that's powerful attraction keeps your doors and drawers securely shut. These magnets are so strong they can hold this hammer that's nearly 5 pounds. Plus they're super thin. They'll fit just about anywhere, and they stay out of sight. Even screw them in for a more permanent solution. Monkey Magnets are perfect for cabinets, dresser drawers, sliding closet doors, accordion doors, and more. They're made of ultra-durable metal, so even your outdoor problems are solved in an instant because they're corrosion and rust resistant. Use them anywhere outside the house, even on that stubborn mailbox that won't stay shut. Monkey Magnets can stick anywhere, from drywall to all types of wood frames, metal surfaces, and more. Call or go online now to get 8 sets of Monkey Magnets for only $9.99. Monkey Magnets are guaranteed to last 10 years or your money back. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get Monkey Magnets at this low price. There is a strict limit of 1 full house pack per order while supplies last. So order now to keep all your doors and drawers shut tight with Monkey Magnets.
Call 1-800-519-4810. That's 1-800-519-4810. Call or visit getmonkeymagnets.com. So call 1-800-519-4810. Order now.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids. Don't be fooled by overpriced hearing aids. Prescription hearing aids could cost $3,000 or more. Nano hearing aids are now offering $100 off through this special TV offer. Call now and get 2 CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. And if you're not happy, return them for a full refund.
I want to make this a really good signature because this is, this is a big one, right? Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
So that, folks, is President Trump doing what he does best. Engaging in common sense. He signs an executive order cutting off the money. You want to get people to change their behavior? Cut the money off. No more men in women's sports. So there's some iconic moments from President Trump. Him hugging the flag, him working the window at McDonald's. And I think this is an iconic moment as well. President Trump sticking up for the women and girls. Do we have it? Do we have it? Let's see here. This is where he's hugging the girls. Let's see. Check it out. Okay, yeah, no problem. We don't have that. No big deal. We've had a little technical problems today, folks, but bear with me. All right, I want to turn now to Gaza. More common sense for President Trump. We know the people of Gaza despise Israel. We know for decades it's not working with the people of Gaza enabling and embracing Hamas on the southern side of Israel. It is constantly Gazans and Hamas breaking the ceasefire. So President Trump comes up with a common sense idea. Get the people of Gaza out, move them to someplace nice, give them a yard, give them some jobs, but get them out of Gaza. And then what do we got left with? I don't know, you can call it Gaza Lago, maybe, or call it Mara Gaza. I don't care, but it's a start.
We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent. But more importantly than that is the people that have been absolutely destroyed that live there now can live in peace.
The people have been destroyed, and it is an all-out hellhole now. So what is the best thing to happen? I think in the end, you've got to relocate them. So Gazans have been unable to embrace peace. We know they hail Hamas terrorists as heroes. So why in the world would we allow that to continue when we know that Israel is a purveyor of peace? That's all they want. Now, Saudi Arabia has pushed back against this. So what is the goal of President Trump's idea to move Gazans, relocate them, and build the Riviera of the Middle East in Gaza? He has a number of different goals. All right, could he be using this as a simple distraction as he overwhelms the media with news and they can't keep up? Maybe. Is it simply a negotiating tool to force the Middle East into talks to embrace peace? Maybe. Or maybe he's legit, and this is exactly what he wants to do. Either way, what cannot be denied is that the reality is the situation isn't working. What are you going to do? You want a two-state solution? I ask you, who's going to run the second state? Is it going to be the Muslim Brotherhood? I don't think so. Hamas? I don't think so. You can't have a terrorist organization run the second state, which is what's happening right now. So this is the only thing that works. Now, the left, as you know, is freaking out about this. This is AOC talking about ethnic cleansing.
We have known that this is Trump's plan for the Gaza Strip. It is horrific. It is the definition of ethnic cleansing. It is part of the culmination of what I view to be genocide of the Palestinian people. And this is genuinely one of the most horrific humanitarian catastrophes that we've seen in modern history.
Have you seen what live in Gaza? It is literally rubble and ruin, thanks to Hamas that brought it on themselves. Ethnic cleansing. President Trump said he's going to move them to a beautiful land. Well, they'll finally have a yard. Maybe some of them will have pools. They'll have jobs. They will not live in the hellhole called Gaza. That is not ethnic cleansing. That's giving somebody a better life in the relocation, because life in Gaza isn't great right now, especially under the thumb of Hamas, even though Gazans embrace that. So AOC is completely out of line there. Now, the idea of the United States taking it over, which is something President Trump said, is on the table. It runs counterintuitive to what President Trump said about not getting American troops involved. So President Trump, his press secretary, was asked about U.S. troops, the possibility of this. This is what Caroline Leavitt said, cut 8.
I would reject the premise of your question that this forces the United States to be entangled in conflicts abroad. The president has not committed to putting boots on the ground in Gaza. He has also said that the United States is not going to pay for the rebuilding of Gaza. His administration is going to work with our partners in the region to reconstruct this region. And let me just take a step back here, because this is an out-of-the-box idea. That's who President Trump is. That's why the American people elected him. And his goal is lasting peace in the Middle East.
I think there may be something what President Trump was doing yesterday, and it's to get people talking about the reality of the situation. And the reality of the situation is it's not working, and it's not changing, and there is no end in sight of the fighting that Hamas causes on a regular basis towards Israel. The attacks always come from the south into Israel. So this gets everybody talking. And I believe in the end, something needs to change. This is one idea. Do I want to see American soldiers' boots on the ground in Gaza? No. Would I like to see a beautiful Riviera there? Maybe paid for by Saudi Arabia and other Middle Eastern countries, and make it a destination and get the people of Gaza out, maybe into Jordan, maybe into Egypt, where they can live and start to build back their lives and leave Israel alone. All the while, we wipe out Hamas. Common sense ideas to me, though the left freaks out over all of it. All right, folks, it will come as no surprise. A Biden-era appointee collaborated with a Chinese company to attack Amazon. That story is next.
It's time to get your dream kitchen at Cabinets to Go.
Right now, save on every single cabinet in your design. Up to $175 off per cabinet. Come in today and get your dream kitchen for just $148 per month.
Cabinets to Go. Wow for less.
Hi, I'm Caleb, and this is my story. I was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, or brittle bone disease. I have broken my bones almost 200 times, and I have had 11 surgeries. But I didn't let that stop me. I love to bike ride, climb, race, and I'm learning how to stand and walk. But I can only do all of this because of generous people like you and Shriners Hospitals for Children.
Because of people like you, Shriners Hospitals for Children has helped more than 1.3 million kids just like me, regardless of their family's ability to pay.
Shriners Hospitals for Children is only able to provide this world-class, life-changing medical care because of the generous gifts of people just like you.
Because of you, I can ride my bike. I can play basketball.
Because of people like you, I can run.
I can smile.
Will you send your love to the rescue today?
When you go to loveshriners.org right now and give just 63 cents a day, you're helping kids just like me.
Like me. Like me.
When you give today, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a thank you and a reminder of the love you gave to a kid just like me.
Your gift, no matter how small, can help a child today.
This is your moment to make a difference.
When you pick up your phone, I know you have it right there, and call to give. You're helping kids like me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Please call or go online now. If operators are busy, please call again or give right away at loveshriners.org.
Your gift makes a difference. Thank you for giving.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Call now and get this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. And if you call right now, as a bonus, we'll throw in a free annuity rate report. Don't miss out on this opportunity because supplies are limited. Both books are yours free, just for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-899-6246.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
Well, folks, I certainly have my issues with Amazon. I think they rely too much on China for their goods to sell to Americans. And the FTC has an antitrust case going against Amazon. But whatever you think of this antitrust case, I want to raise awareness to something Lena Khan did, the chairwoman of the FTC. She recruited Temu TEMU. You probably know this Chinese group. It's a competitor of Amazon that has made inroads into the United States. They have no warehouses here, while Amazon gives about Americans 1.5 million jobs here. And they recruited Temu to bring dirt on Amazon. Now, why would a United States agency bring in the enemy, China, to try to attack an American company? This, as the FTC under Khan, a Biden appointee, wanted to make Amazon open up its warehouses and distribution places to its competitors. That alone, I believe, is anti-American. But this idea of Temu coming in and waging war against Amazon in the courts on behalf of the U.S. government, to me, is backwards, especially when Google suspended the Temu app when they realized it had a backdoor window into users' emails. Well, with me now is the president of the American Antitrust Education Project. Robert Bork Jr. is with us. Mr. Bork, it is great to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, so it's interesting because I don't often defend Amazon, but in this case, I think I probably should. You wrote an article about this. You've been studying this. Tell me the big problem.
Well, look, for an agency to go to a competitor of a company that it is suing is not illegal, and it's certainly fairly typical. But in this case, Lina Khan sent her staff to talk to Temu, which is a sort of super discounter from China that violates at least the spirit of our laws, because it avoids paying tariffs in America, because it won't send anything more than, only will send $800 or less of its products directly to American consumers, that way avoiding having to pay any tariffs. So they've got this little game going. But even worse than that is that the Senate Select Committee reported some time ago that Temu relies on forced labor from Xinjiang, which is the provincial home of the Uyghurs, where torture and forced sterilization and religious repression and concentration camps are, being used by the Chinese, and they use that labor to make goods in violation of our laws, as well as basic human decency. So I just find it just unbelievable that the chair of the FTC would reach out to people like that to punish a law-abiding American company that is one of the most innovative companies in America, that creates millions of jobs, as you mentioned, and provides goods to American consumers at a fair price, in fact, at a discounted price.
Mr. Bork, what do you think happens now that the Trump administration is in place? I would imagine he'd replace this FTC chair. What happens with the antitrust suit against Amazon? And is there any merit to that lawsuit?
I don't think there is much merit to it. In fact, almost none. I've been following the last administration's lawsuits against American companies now for 4 years. And the key sort of overarching element of all of them is that they make stuff up. They bring cases against Apple by creating a market that doesn't exist. They would gerrymander a market. Or they make allegations against Meta for things that were approved by the previous FTCs 10 years ago, and they want to bring it back up. So there's a lot to be said for, I think, the skullduggery of the treachery of the FTC under Joe Biden and run by Lina Khan. But you asked what's going to happen now. Well, we have a new chair of the FTC already. He was a sitting commissioner, and he was elevated to chairman. His name is Andrew Ferguson. And we will have another Republican probably confirmed in the next couple of weeks. And the Republicans will then have a 3-2 majority on the commission. I think they will continue to be aggressive, but perhaps a little bit more thoughtful, a little bit more reliant on economics and facts than they're just sort of enormous antipathy to big business and capitalism. And I would expect that cases like Amazon will probably get pared down and ultimately perhaps settled, where the other regime just wanted to break the company up.
Look, Amazon, it appears, has taken over the world. I mean, now they own Whole Foods, and I think they're too reliant on China for everything. I don't know how far I want government going in and breaking all that up. I'm always very hesitant about breaking situations up like that. I want competitors to be able to compete. Amazon's gotten very, very big, though. But this idea of Temu coming in, and it really is trying to make inroads to be that next competitor. I don't like this group because I think they're devious, and I think working for the CCP, they're doing much of the same thing that TikTok was doing to gather information on American citizens.
Yes, sir.
This is Don Jr. on his podcast, Trigger, talking directly about Temu. Listen to this.
We've been doing investigations on the show on just how much they've infiltrated our supply chains and exporting products made with forced labor. My father has basically said, you better move manufacturing here, agree to oversight, or else you're going to face consequences. We also see these cheap Chinese retailers like Temu and Shan who like to exploit the loopholes in our trade laws and, enroute, their goods.
Basically everything you just spelled out, Robert Bork Jr. And in the end here, something's got to be done to stop that from happening. What do you recommend the administration now, as I give you the last word here?
Well, I think they the president just the other day, was it yesterday? You can't even tell anymore. It's so fast. It's happening so fast. He just signed an executive order, I think, closing that loophole, adding tariffs. So I think that Temu is going to find itself up against a wall pretty quickly here. And the Postal Service stopped delivering stuff from China for a day. Who knows what that'll happen again. I think their days are numbered, and I think this administration, unlike past administrations, like the Biden administration, basically sucked up to China. Wonder why?
Well, exactly.
I think that's over.
I think it is too. Look, if history's its judge, President Trump has never been shy about pushing back against China. He's already doing it now with this latest round of tariffs. He doesn't seem to be too concerned over China's retaliatory tariffs against us. We shall see how it plays out. I'm really not all that concerned either, but I appreciate you bringing this story to us. The president of the American Antitrust Education Project, Robert Bork Jr. Thank you, sir. It's nice to see you.
Good to see you, too. Thank you.
All right, you got it. All right, folks, what do Trump's tariffs mean for your portfolio? Staying ahead of the curve next.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Most bad guys do things for money. The equity in your home was a treasure trove for the bad guys. By downloading one simple document, forging your name onto that document, and using a fake notary stamp, the bad guy can transfer your home's title into their name. Home Title Lock has 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, and any change, you will be alerted. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. The peace of mind that offers is invaluable.
Who wants to drag out a bulky vacuum? Introducing Horsepower Duck, a super compact vac with ultra powerful suction. Clean up that mess in the kitchen, the spill on the sofa, even sawdust in the workshop. Just duck it up. The compact design can reach the tightest places, so store it in any drawer where it's always at your fingertips. You can even store it in your glove box for the ultimate car vac. The HEPA filter helps remove dust and allergens. Plus, it dumps out with ease, so it's ready to clean again. Get the Horsepower Duck hand vac for just $39.99. Order right now and we'll upgrade you to the Duck Pro package, a $30 value, yours free. You get the bendable tube, the crevice nozzle, and the soft brush nozzle, but supplies are limited, so there's a strict limit of 3 ducks per order. This may be your last chance to get yours at this low price, so don't delay. Duck it up today.
Call 1-800-693-3440 or visit duckback.com. So call 1-800-693-3440 or visit duckback.com now.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids. Don't be fooled by overpriced hearing aids. Prescription hearing aids could cost $3,000 or more. Nano hearing aids are now offering $100 off through this special TV offer. Call now and get 2 CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. And if you're not happy, return them for a full refund.
And welcome back, everyone. So the big question is, what will happen with President Trump's tariffs on China? My belief is it will not have a huge effect. When you look at liquefied natural gas amounting to only 2.3% of our liquefied natural gas exports going to China, and by the way, Joe Biden had already put a real big pause on liquefied natural gas. Crude oil, same thing. China needs our energy products from coal, crude, and LNG. Why are they tariffing things they need from us? Our tariffs to China, President Trump is smart. He's tariffing the things that we already make here, allowing us to be able to compete on the back end. But what does all this mean for your finances? What does it mean for the markets? To me, I believe all of it amounts to more chaotic events. I don't see spending dropping in any major way because we have these interest payments that we have to make, which makes me think that gold is still really a viable option to protect your portfolio. I want to bring in with me now precious metal specialist for Birch Gold, Philip Patrick is here. Philip, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, it's great to have you on, Philip. What do you make of Trump's tariffs, China, and gold?
Listen, I think your summary was actually a very good one. We need to start addressing some of the issues. We need to address trade imbalances. And as you intimated, the big problem is a revenue issue, a deficit issue. So we're trying to find ways through addressing trade imbalances, through generating external revenue to try and plug a deficit gap. Tariffs are also being used, of course, as a negotiating tool, specifically with Canada and Mexico, to stop the flow of fentanyl through the border. For China, it's a little bit more strategic, right? They're looking at incentivizing domestic manufacturing, specifically for critical defense-related components. So, I see tariffs like you creating volatility. They are starting to do that because the problem with tariffs, since World War II, everything's very intertwined. So the second we slap tariffs on China, guess what? We get hit back with retaliatory tariffs, and we're starting to see that now. So volatility is coming, but I think long-term, it's necessary.
All right. We could raise a lot of money as a nation with some of these tariffs if they were to end up going through. President Trump clearly believes in them to bring down our national debt. Our interest payments are through the roof. I mean, it's literally trillions of dollars. Every day we're going more and more bust. When you look at what Doge is doing, it's 8 million here, 20 million here. All of it adds up, don't get me wrong. But this is a drop in the bucket when it comes to the interest payments we're making on America. I don't see that changing anytime soon, especially with Congress's penchant for spending.
I agree vehemently. Listen, tariffs as a revenue generator are not fantastic. They're really effective at boosting domestic manufacturing. But the reason they're not effective as a revenue generator is that retaliation. So, for example, the tariffs that Trump put on China in 2016, for every dollar they generated in revenue, we had to give back 96 cents in subsidies, in this case to U.S. farming, the U.S. farming industry. Doge, I agree, there's not enough money. They're talking about cutting $1 trillion. I don't see it. For some context, they could fire every government employee. That would be about $300 billion. So there isn't a huge amount there. I agree with you. We're going to continue to run deficits, debt service payments. And I want to leave the viewers with something. Ferguson's law, Niall Ferguson, very famous historian, without exception in history, whenever a great nation spends more on debt service than they do on defense, the empire has collapsed. That has been true of every empire in history. Last year, we were 1.2 trillion on defense, 800 billion on defense, 1.2 trillion on debt service. So if President Trump pulls this off, he will pull off what no human in history has managed to do. So, it's time to hedge.
Look, gold isn't going to make any difference. Nothing will if America collapses. We can't afford that, right? So I think President Trump will pull it off, but I also always say follow the smart money. Still to this day, China buying gold. You have basically every major nation buying up gold in record numbers. I'll give you the last word, Philip.
Last year, they set a new record, 2024. So it's been 3 years consistently. They're hedging dollar exposure. And I think we should do the same. Listen, I, like you, believe in President Trump. Listen to what they're saying. They're addressing the problems, but they have a big task in front of them. So I imagine President Trump's hedging himself. Central banks around the world are hedging themselves. And I think we need to do the same.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Birch Gold has this great book out, Gold in the Trump Era, and I urge people to read this. Philip Patrick, we thank you for coming on, and here's how you can get in touch with our friends at Birch Gold. This really is a really, really viable portfolio protection maneuver, gold is. Here's what you do. Text America to the number 989898. Again, America to the number 989898. Get your free info kit on gold, and as I mentioned, a copy of The Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era, with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. Again, all you got to do is text that number, America, to the number 989898. All right, Americans are standing up and are no longer fearful of leftist tactics. See how the tables have turned next.
Your wallet is always in danger. Criminals can scan and hack your information without you even knowing. Worse yet, it's bulky and so disorganized. But not anymore, because Slim is in. Introducing Slim Mint, an ultra-thin RFID blocking wallet that keeps your cards and cash truly protected. And now may be your last chance to get it for a low price. Slim Mint uses the latest RFID blocking technology to prevent thieves from scanning your wallet and stealing your info.
Having your information stolen is a nightmare, but with Slim Mint, I know I'm protected.
With money clips, cash can easily fall out, but with the auto-locking Slim Mint, your cards and money stay securely in place. Then just press the button to release the lock. Slim Mint is ergonomically designed to optimize space and keep your belongings organized. It has a built-in cash clip and a flexible outer band to securely fit your additional cards and your extra cash. Even with everything you see here in the Slim Mint, it's still ultra-thin. Bulky wallets are uncomfortable, but the Slim Mint is so compact it fits in any size pocket. Plus, it keeps everything easy to access.
Slim Mint holds everything from pictures to credit cards, my driver's license. Yeah, it's still so thin.
Say bye-bye to bent cards and damaged magnetic strips. Slim Mint keeps them protected. It's crush resistant and can really take a beating. Similar wallets sell for over $100. But call or click now and get Slim Mint for just $29.99. Order in the next 5 minutes and you'll get an instant $10 discount. So it's only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get Slim Mint at this low price. There's a strict limit of 3 Slim Mint wallets while supplies last. You still have time to get your very own Slim Mint wallets, but you must act fast. Don't wait, order now.
Call 1-800-608-6630. That's 1-800-608-6630. Call or visit slimmintwallet.com. So call 1-800-608-6630 now.
You asked and we heard you, America.
Real America's Voice is coming to iHeartMedia.
Yes, Real America's Voice is now breaking through the white noise of the mainstream media.
Just download the iHeart app and you'll have all of us right at your fingertips.